unfold.
All right, today we're launching an investigation into one of the most fascinating puzzles in human biology, the blue zones. These are a handful of places scattered around the globe where people don't just live longer. It's almost like they forget to die. So let's start with a really big question. Forget about some miracle drug or complicated biohacking. What if the most powerful tool for a long life isn't something you buy, but simply the place you live? That's the core idea we're digging into today. That maybe the secret to longevity isn't something we need to invent, but something we just need to rediscover. So, what exactly is a blue zone? Well, the name has a surprisingly simple origin. A couple of researchers, Michel Poulain and Johnny Pess, were studying longevity hotspots in Sardinia. And they literally just took a blue pen and drew circles on their map around the villages that had the most men living past 100. The name just stuck, and now it stands for these amazing pockets of health and long life. To really wrap our heads around the power of these places, we're going to put the data aside for a minute and start with a story. It's one single, almost unbelievable case that pretty much acts as the Rosetta Stone for this entire phenomenon. I'm talking about the story of a man named Stamatis Moraitis. Okay, picture this. It's 1976. Stamatis Moraitis, a Greek war vet, is living in Florida. He goes to the doctor and gets the absolute worst news you can imagine. He has terminal lung cancer. And it's not just one doctor's opinion. Several of them confirm it. They give him 6 to 9 months to live. That's it. Now here's the choice Stamatis made. He said no to aggressive chemotherapy. His thinking was actually pretty practical. A big American funeral would cost a fortune. So he decided to just go back home to his native island of Ikaria in Greece to die peacefully and be buried with his ancestors. But instead of dying, something incredible happened. He started breathing that clean island air, he planted a little garden, he reconnected with his old friends, and as the months turned into years, he didn't just survive, he started to thrive. He actually ended up outliving every single one of the doctors who gave him his death sentence. So get this, Stamatis Moraitis lived for more than 30 years after being told he had just months left. His story isn't just a quirky anecdote, it's a huge flashing clue. It suggests that the environment of a blue zone might actually have the power to help the body heal and extend life in ways we're only just beginning to understand. Okay, so Stamatis' story opened the door. Now let's widen our investigation and start gathering clues from the 5 officially recognized blue zones around the world. Each one has its own unique secrets to a long life. Our first clue comes from the mountains of Sardinia, Italy, and it's a really interesting statistical anomaly. Pretty much everywhere else in the world, women outlive men by a lot. But here, the ratio of men to women who live to 100 is almost 1 to 1. So what's going on? Well, it seems to be tied to the traditional shepherd's lifestyle. These guys walk 5+ miles a day in the mountains, their diet is full of goat's milk and pecorino cheese, and they drink a local red wine called Canino, which, get this, has 2 to 3 times the amount of artery-scrubbing flavonoids as other red wines. Let's jump over to our next clue in Okinawa, Japan. Now, you might assume their secret is rice and fish, but this chart shows the real story, and it's a surprise. Historically, the absolute cornerstone of the Okinawan diet, making up a massive 67% of their calories, was the purple sweet potato. This thing is a low-glycemic, antioxidant-packed superfood. You combine that with a cultural mantra to stop eating when you're 80% full, and, well, you get one of the longest-living, healthiest populations on Earth. Down in Nicoya, Costa Rica, the clue is literally in the water. The local water is incredibly hard, which just means it's super rich in calcium and magnesium because it filters through limestone. It's like they get a lifelong supplement for strong bones and a healthy heart just by drinking tap water. Add in a diet based on corn, beans, and squash, plus plenty of sunshine for vitamin D, and you've got a seriously powerful recipe for longevity. Our fourth clue brings us back to Stamatis' home island of Ikaria, Greece. And it's all about a cultural habit that most of us have completely forgotten, the nap. On Ikaria, the midday siesta is basically sacred, and studies show that this simple act of just slowing down, taking a regular nap, can slash the risk of dying from heart disease by a whopping 37%. It's like a built-in reset button in the middle of their day. And finally, we land in Loma Linda, California, the only blue zone in America. And this one is different. It's not about geography, it's about a chosen culture. This community is home to a big population of Seventh-day Adventists, and their faith encourages a plant-based diet, regular exercise, and a weekly 24-hour day of rest called the Sabbath for family and social connection. And the results? Well, they speak for themselves. They live years longer than other Californians. So, we've gathered all these clues from Italy, Japan, Costa Rica, Greece, and California. Now it's time for the fun part. Let's put it all together, look for the patterns, and finally crack the code of longevity. This is really the key question, isn't it? I mean, a shepherd in Sardinia and a churchgoer in Southern California, they seem like they live on different planets, and yet their lives are built on this shared foundation of principles that just happen to lead to long, healthy lives. And here they are. Researchers boiled it all down to these 9 common denominators, what they call the Power 9. And what's so fascinating is what's not on the list. You don't see run marathons or go to the gym. You see move naturally, like gardening and walking. You don't see a keto diet. You see a plant slant, mostly beans and greens. And it goes so far beyond just physical health, focusing on things like having a purpose, a reason to get up in the morning, and having the right tribe, a group of friends who support you. Let's just zoom in on one of these to see how powerful it is. The 80% rule. This one little practice from Okinawa, which they call harahachibu, makes a huge difference. Just look at the contrast here. It creates this massive calorie gap, it prevents you from overeating, and it just works better with your body's natural rhythms. It's a tiny cultural habit with enormous long-term benefits. But you know, a good investigation has to look at the counter evidence. We have to ask the tough questions. Are these zones really what they seem to be? And even if they are, can they possibly survive in our modern world? So the main skeptical argument pushed by researchers like Dr. Saul Newman basically says that these zones might just be a statistical illusion. They argue it could be caused by bad birth records from a century ago, or even pension fraud in places that historically didn't keep great records. Now, Blue Zone researchers say they have ways to check their data, but it's a really important critique to keep in mind. But you know, maybe the most powerful piece of evidence that this is all very real comes from Okinawa itself. In the last few decades, the arrival of fast food has had a truly devastating effect. The average lifespan for men in Okinawa has plummeted in Japan's national rankings. It's a tragic story, but it proves 2 things. 1, the benefits are from the environment, not just genetics. And 2, they can be wiped out in a single generation. So where does that leave us? Well, if the original blue zones are fragile, maybe even fading, then the goal isn't to pack your bags and move to Icaria. The real lesson is figuring out how to apply their wisdom right where you live. How do you build your own personal blue zone? The solution really comes down to engineering your own environment. These 4 ideas here are simple but so powerful. Deconvenience your kitchen. Hide the junk food and put a bowl of fruit right where you'll see it. Use smaller plates to naturally control your portions. Create a screen-free room just to relax and de-stress. Even something as simple as having low furniture so you have to get up and down from the floor builds the kind of strength that protects you as you age. It's all about making the healthy path the path of least resistance. And at the end of the day, that really is the ultimate takeaway from our whole investigation. The people in blue zones aren't chasing longevity. They're not counting their calories or tracking their steps on an app. They've just built lives and environments that naturally create strong social bonds, natural movement, and a real sense of purpose. And that long, healthy life, it isn't the goal. It's just the beautiful byproduct.